learned a little bit about the 3D space in a static way, and I have briefly reviewed with you the interface of After Effects. If you haven't watched that video yet, be sure to check it out. And now I'm going to show you essentially the key features that you need to know to finish this video aspect of your assignment. So I'm going to click New Project. And now we have our workspace open, and I'm going to select New Composition. These settings are all pretty much fine. You can bring this up or down. Generally speaking, I'm fine with this HD preset. We'll call this calm, because that's going to be the text I'll put in here. And all I want to do is check this 3D render option. The default is for classic 3D, but I do want to make sure that you change this to Cinema 4D. All right, and pretty much what it's telling us now here is that I can't do what I normally do, right? Which, you know, these aspects here, right, with layer styles and blending and tracking and things like that. It will not do that, but it will allow extruded and beveled text and shapes and other things in order to do a 3D text with extrusion, which is what we want. I'm going to push OK. And now we have our blank composition here. And we can start by adding some text. So here's the text tool up here. And I'm just going to write down here, like I said, calm. You can, of course, always change what your dimensions are. Ooh, let's select it all. You can, of course, change what your dimensions are of it, right? Make it bigger or smaller. I'm messing with the spacing of it a little bit. We can put that back to 0, and it'll have less space between the letters. You can, of course, change your text to, you know, whatever else that you want that's saved in your computer that you may have already gotten. And I'll just keep it on the text that we have here. All right. So now I have text. It's scaled fine for now. I can always change it. And what I want to do now is to convert this to a 3D layer. And you do that by pressing this little Q button here, this little checkbox. And now it is considered a 3D layer, right, that exists in a 3D space. And you'll see here that's giving you similar controls as to what we saw in Substance, right? So now if I use my selection tool, you can see here that it has my X, Y, and Z space options, so I can start moving things around with how I think it might fit in my space. Now I know that the angle in my video is pretty strong, which is one of the reasons I was experimenting earlier with increasing the space between my letters a little bit so I can still read them even at their extreme angle. All right. So I'll leave it at that for now. Okay. So we need to extrude this text, right, to make it look as if it is three-dimensional. So to do that, we're going to open this drop-down menu here, and I am going to look at geometry options. And you can see here in the geometry options that there is an extrusion depth slider here. So we can mess with that. And you can see here it's going to be hard to see the full shape of this until we light it, but you can see here that we're starting to have a nice extrusion here where we can make it look bigger, smaller, right, wider, deeper, have more volume. So I'll keep it at that. And of course you can change with the bevel style if you want to, depending on what you think will look nice. So, and of course this will take a little experimenting. You can always change the color of the text here. I'll leave it at that for now. Next, we need to light it, right? And you can find lighting. What we're essentially doing is adding a layer for light. So you'll find that in your layer dropdown, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th option here. And we will go to new layer and we are going to select light. We do want a spotlight. However, there are other options available here. We can start with our light color to be a white color. You can change how bright it is, how wide it is, how much it feathers, and things like that. But you can also change that later on. So we'll just push OK. Now you can see my extrusion on my text a little more. And again, we have all of those same controls that we had prior. So we can move this around and start trying to light our word here. So we can leave it at that for now. I can always go back and keep modifying that, and I will, because I'm going to want to try to mimic the lighting in the footage that I have. So let's select some footage here. We'll try this one. All right. And now this is in my assets for my project, and now I'm just going to drag and drop this down to be its own layer as well. My computer hates me a little bit because I'm also, recording as I work, so it's going to be a little slow. So now we have our video here with our words, and you can see here, I am playing at a third playback, otherwise it's not going to play back anything at all. But you can see what I'm working with here. So, excuse me. Let's start by opening, by going back into our COM and making sure it's at the right angle. And it's really quite a dramatic angle here, so I want to make sure that it's going to still be legible. I'll do a little less. Okay, and I'm going to increase my spacing in those a little more, just so I can read my words a little better. Nice. That's fine. And then I'll, of course, want to fix my lighting a little bit. There's a really great option here that you can have here is have two views of your space. And we can change our second view to, we can change one of our views, let's see, to top. So now we have both views available here. Of course, since it's a 3D space, we can't see our picture from the top. But we can see where our text is in relation to the light. And we can try working a little more on making sure that this looks correct. So I'm going to make that one just a little bigger so I can see it. And I'm going to start fussing with my light a little bit more, so that way the lighting looks a little bit more correct to me. So I want it to be behind it. I feel like my light's being a little fussy. I may just start it over. All right, my light's being a little fussy, so I'm just going to put a new light in. Now that I have it with in this composition in the video, I want to try to make that a little better. So I'm going to do all of my same settings as before, and I'm going to try to work with this a little better. And I really do want it to be behind it. So I can see my center here. So this is going to take a little bit of finessing. All right, we're starting to get a little somewhere that I prefer. Let's just make my spotlight a little brighter so I can see a little better. Let's try a little more. All right. All right. And you can see how my view over here is helping me out as I'm moving things around. All right, that's not bad. Let's see, I want to just do a little bit more and then we'll wrap this up for the demo. Okay. So I want it to kind of be shining over it. That's good. All right, so I could keep, finessing this as much as I really wanted to here. Practice with this until you get to a spot that you really like how it looks. Here I could be lighting it from the other side. You can just try to finesse this until you have something that makes sense to you. Bear in mind that I have a lot of experience lighting physical objects as a photographer. That's what I do. I can also finagle this like forever, but okay, now we're trying to, that's a little better, I think. So try to think about this as if you're lighting something in real space. Right. I have, like I said, I have plenty of experience lighting things in a real space just because of my career as a photographer. But you're gonna want this to look as natural as possible. So just give yourself the time to work with that until you get to a space that you kind of like. All right. So I'm just working with my spaces here to get what I want. All right. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that for now. I'm going to just move this a little bit more onto, onto our boardwalk here so it doesn't look like it's falling off. All right. Okay, so like I said, I could keep playing with this for a very long time, but I don't want to make this demo too long. So now we have our comm here. It's lit. You can, make a quick playback and see what that looks like. Again, very low res, but I don't want it to be glitching. So now what we want to do is move it, right? So, and of course you can keep messing around with how you want your colors to look here. You know, so for example, with this with my text here, I can change the colors by selecting this, and you know, it'll give me a little preview here of what that's going to look like. And the cool thing is you can even use this eyedropper tool to sample colors that are already there, which can be really nice way of really unifying the piece. So maybe, you know, you want it to be this nice, you know, wood color, and I can always make it a little bit brighter so you can see it better. That's nice. You know, you could, of course, go for like this watercolor back here. And I can just make that a little lighter if you wanted. That's also very nice. So the sky's the limit here with how you'd want to include it. You know, you could put the green in the back. You know, they have a stroke here as well. And of course, you can do the same with the spotlight. You can change the light colors. So maybe I want to start off with, you know, something a little bit more like this sky here, and just have a little bit of like a blue hue to my light, just to try to mimic the background. So, you know, play with that, find something that you like, and see, you know, what makes sense to put your pictures together here. I think that I like this blue color a little more. All right. I want it a little brighter. Okay. Great. So now we have this. Let's move our object. And I'll move it down this as we in time. So I'm going to drag my playhead to the beginning of my playback, and I have my COM here is highlighted. I'm going to do a quick position keyframe here. Actually, first I want to move it to where I want it to be. So let's put it maybe down here. And now I'll keyframe it, and then I'll go over to the end of my, this is kind of a long clip, so let's just make it to here and I'll shorten it. All right, and I'll move it down to here, so it's like it's kind of moving away from us. And now it has that keyframe there. So if I play back, let's bring down my resolution. You can see it is moving down my boardwalk or my dock in time. So we can also do this, you know, I'm going to scale it as well, just to make it even more realistic. So I'll do that with the I want to transform that, and we'll do that with scale. So now I'm in my scale portion here. I will create a keyframe and then move to where this other keyframe is. Remember, you can snap by holding Shift, and it'll snap to that space. And now that it's here, I'll make it just a little smaller, so it's kind of receding as we go. And now if I play back, it'll get a little smaller as it's moving down. That my light is good enough, and I'm happy with my text for now. So my text is moving, right, as we give it some keyframes here in the position and scaling here, right? So it's getting a little smaller as it's moving down. We can even go down here and make it even smaller if we really wanted to. Really exaggerate that. So now when my text is moving, I want to make sure that it is linked to the spotlight as a parent, right? and make sure that the spotlight is paired with the text so that they move together, right? So I'm going to drop this down here and have this connect to COM, and now they will move as a unit, and the light won't ever change. It won't ever move out of the light. And now it looks like the text is going back in space here. All right. So so now we have our spotlight essentially linked with this so that they have the same motion here. Kind of think of it as making like a clipping mask in Photoshop, right? Where it's only attached to, you know, this link here. So that's basically it. You would then, of course, render it. Just kind of reiterate this whole idea of parenting and linking our light to our text. You can, of course, link any shape to another shape to have it mirror its properties, right? So let's say we'll start with this rectangle tool, and I'll make, you know, whatever, a square. And we'll say that, you know, at the beginning of the timeline, I want its, you know, its position to be here, and I'll keyframe that with my my stopwatch, and I'll move it over to, you know, 4 seconds, and I will shift, maybe bring him up there. So now he'll be moving during that time. You know, and you can do the same thing for, you know, scaling it if you wanted to. We could make it, you know, look smaller, whatever. So now we have that, but let's say I want to do another shape, and I will, let's just make it a circle so it's easy to see this, and we'll make a little circle here. Okay, and I want it to move in tandem with this one. We will use this one as the parent and this one as, you know, the link, the baby. So what we'll do here is we have our ellipse tool. I'm going to use this called a pick whip here, and we can drag it down there. And now you can see that it is linked to that shape, and they should move together and get smaller together, right? Throughout my transition. So that's the same thing that you want to do with the light and your text. I hope that clears things up for you. Good luck finishing your project.